generation. No more standing out in line. So good at wasting our time. We are the lazy generation. We are the lazy generation. We are the lazy generation now.
Welcome then to the final race of the 2007 GP4 Offline Championship. I'm JWF1 and we are here in Brazil. After so many requests, I am back as commentator for the final race. Last season's winner was Jack Boyman in the McLaren Mercedes, and he managed to clock up a fastest lap record of 1 minute 11.075. At this track last season, Joseph Willows managed to win the inaugural championship from Joshua Aniston. He'll be hoping to do that again this weekend as he's got another golden opportunity to win the title. Well, it's looking good for him. He's on pole position in front of teammate Yuri Marta. Pierce Sontag is third with Jay McKenzie 4th, George Rote 5th, Will Nella 6th, Sam Thompson 7th, James Willows 8th, Kellen Bryce 9th, and Jack Boyman in 10th. Willows and Bryce are in a little bit of a fight at the moment, the two Renaults, with Willows looking like he's going to take the advantage. Then it's Roland Moyton in 11th with Evan Byrne in 12th, Paige Knight 13th, Waze Cuba 14th, Alex Southgate 15th, with Finley Strachan 16th, Miklos Gal in 17th, Nicholas Mazia 18th, Adam Wolf 19th, Daniel 20th, Sin Cara 21st, and Domenico De Lazio is in 22nd. So that is the grid for Brazil, and we are getting ready for the final race of the championship. We're just getting ready very, very soon indeed. So, Joseph on the left of your screen, Yuri on the right, and who's going to win the championship between the two McLarens and Will Nella? 5 lights. And it's going for the final time here in Brazil. And who's got a good start between the two McLarens? It's Joseph Willows. Joseph Willows getting the start he needed. A fantastic start from the defending champion. Wanted to defend the championship this weekend. Yuri and Sontag side by side into turn 2. But Yuri managed to hang it around the outside. And it looks like everybody's got through the first couple of corners safely. Will now still down in 6th position. Still stuck behind the two BMW Salvage. And it looks like those two are going hammer and tongs down into turn number 4. George Rote trying to look down the inside of Jay McKenzie. Sontag was trying to have a little look at Yuri Marta saying no to that. Nella still can't find a way past the two BMW Salvage. Roke has got up to 4th past McKenzie. Here's as we skip to lap number 2. Roke now down the inside of Sontag. Sontag's going backwards. Sontag holding it around the outside as Nella looking down the inside of McKenzie. Can he get it so close to contact there? And again there. And Nella moves up into 5th position. And now McKenzie's got to worry about the two Renaults behind. Meanwhile, as we skip to the rest of the lap, as now look at this, Rogue has a big lockup from Sontag. Does that give her any opportunity? Yes, it does. Rogue slips down the inside and moves up into 3rd position. Sontag clearly struggling. He must be on a heavy fuel load as he's holding up a queue of cars at the moment, including his teammate. He wouldn't want to hold him up for too long as the two McLaren drivers are switching fastest laps on this lap. Meanwhile, a gaggle of cars going down into turn number 1. This isn't BTCC, lads. As down inside goes Boyman. Can he get 2 positions at once? Down inside, he took James Willows and he's gone around the outside of Brights. A fantastic move from Jack Boyman. Up into 7th place in the Williams. Now the two Renaults have got to worry about the two Toyotas that are behind him. Meanwhile, Nella down the inside of his teammate. Can Nella get 4th off Sontag down the inside? But Sontag not making it too easy for him. Clearly he wants to race with him. He wants Nella to prove himself to him, saying, Nella, if you want to be a champion, you've got to get past me. As now we'll have a look at the replay what happened to Sontag. So it looked like he understeered through the left-hander and then locked up through the second last corner and nearly came close to contact with Rowe. A replay of Boyman there, slipping it down the inside of the two Renaults, getting 2 for 1 in the space of 2 corners there. Great stuff from Jack Boyman, the former McLaren driver and even last year's winner at this track. Now, Sontag once again defending Nella. He's not making Nella's life any easier at the moment as the two Hondas are together at the moment as well. So now we look at Nella, who looks to the inside. Sontag defends. They've got to be careful that McKenzie doesn't get back into this battle. Sontag defending the inside. Now Nella flicking to the inside into the turn 1. Can Nella get the job done? And yes, he can. He had to do that. Nella moves up into 4th place at the expense of his teammate Felix Sontag. A great pass from Nella indeed. As now McKenzie all over the back of Nella at the moment. Can McKenzie get 5th place off him now? Can he take advantage of all of this? If he goes backwards from this, it's clear that Sontag's on a heavy fuel load, and sure enough, McKenzie moves up into 5th position. Cuba now taking 11th from Motrin in in the Toyota there. Southgate trying to hold off 2 cars behind him. Meanwhile, we skip to lap 6 now as they cross the line. Willows still leads, but look at Yuri Marta. Yuri Marta keeping up with him. Marta, even though 6 points behind, a bit of an underdog coming into this race. Look, still is not going to give up as Nella sets the fastest lap. Nella is on a roll. He does not want to give up this championship. He lost the lead in the championship in China, and he's desperate to get it back to win it this race. As Boyman now looking at round the outside of Sontag, and he takes 6th. Sontag's former team just gets past him there. It's clear that Sontag is on a heavier field though, and now he's got to worry about the 2 Renaults that are behind him with Bryce and James Willows. Sontag now looking back down the inside of Boyman, but Boyman keeping him at bay, sorry. So now Sontag, look at this gaggle of cars at the moment. Sontag really did a good job of holding this train of cars up. Meanwhile, now we look at Bryce as we skip to lap 7. Bryce now all over the back of Sontag. Sontag is clearly struggling. Bryce now looking to the inside in the Renault. Sontag trying his best to defend, but he knows that Bryce is there. Is Bryce going to break later into this corner? And yes, he is. Sontag even made a little lock up, and that is giving Bryce's teammate James Willows an opportunity to get through. And James Willows now moves up into, I believe that is 8th position. So I believe Sontag is now outside the points, and it looks like Page Knight looks to crash there between Mazia and one of the Super Aguris, whichever one that is. I do not know. I cannot tell which of the Super Aguris it is, but Mazia has lost his rear wing, and one of the Super Aguris has lost his front wing. I believe that is Adam Wolf who's lost his front wing. Meanwhile, we skip to lap number 9 as now Nella looking to the inside as George Roke. Can he get 3rd place off the BMW Saubers? Look at Marta. He's closed up right up to Willows. Willows clearly not faster than Marta. It's even under a second between the 2 McLarens at the moment in the top 2. Knight now looking to try and find a way past Sontag as his teammate at the moment, Motran, trying his best to hold off a couple of cars that are behind him. In fact, Motran made a little bit of an understeer moment there through turn number 4. Page Knight now then, as Sontag was pushing into a mistake, and there's a crash between Cuba and Sontag. Cuba is out of the race, and Sontag's going to have to make a trip to the pits. Clearly the understeer has got to him. He's lost a bit of front wing, and Sontag will have to come back to the pits. He's got to find a clear path first of all, but that's Cuba's race done with, and not a way that Cuba wanted to end his last race with Williams. If none of you don't know, Cuba is actually moving to Renault next season, so not the way he wanted to end his final race with Williams. But I'm sure it's been a good season for Cuba nonetheless to deserve that Renault seat. Meanwhile, now Nella looking to the inside of Roke. Can he get 3rd off the BMW side at last? Down inside into turn number 4. Has he got the job done? Yes, he has. Nella moves up to 3rd. Now he can set his sights on the 2 McLarens in front. Meanwhile, we now look at the 2 McLarens who are coming up to lap Sontag. So Sontag clearly had a lengthy pit stop, and if you look at it at the moment, the way it stands, Joseph Willows will defend the World Championship at this race. So it's looking good for Joseph at the moment, but Martin might have something to play with it. Well, not much really. And now Nella's got straight and he crashed. Oh no, Will Nella, one of the championship contenders, is out of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and that is championship over for Will Nella. Oh my lord, we're only now down to Joseph Willows and Yuri Marta to win the championship. Will Nella's chances have gone up in smoke. The man who has led the championship for the majority of the season has binned it all here in Brazil. And now it's just the 2 McLarens who are left to fight for the World Championship. And so far it's advantage Joseph, because even if Marta gets past him as they both put a lap on Sontag, clearly Sontag holding him up probably for the gremlins of Nella. But either way, or maybe the gremlins because of what happened between Joseph Willows and Felix Sontag in Belgium. But here's a replay of Nella, and this is where it all came to an end for the championship for Will Nella. As you can see, understeer and just straight into the wall. It's advantage Joseph at the moment, as I was saying, because of the way it stands as it is. Even if Yuri gets past him, it will still not be enough for Marta to take the title, because he's 6 points behind Joseph in this race. Willows will still do enough to win the Drivers' Championship, as Bryce has just finished his pit stop. And where is the Renault driver going to rejoin? This is his final race, by the way, guys. He will be retiring from the series at the end of the season, so it's a shame for that. So, like his Season 1 teammate, he's joining him in the retirement lounge. It seems that Renault seems to be a habit when it comes to retirements, as Page Knight has finished her pit stop. Sin Cara finishes his pit stop as well. So good stop from the Spiker mechanics. They'll be changing to Force India next season, so it should be interesting to see what Vijay Mallya has plans for that team. As Jay McKenzie pits from, I believe that was, 4th position. due to what happened to the Ferrari, as now Gal and Daniel fight it out for 13th position, as Daniel with the complicated first name. I do apologise if I haven't said your first name, by the way. I find it's hard to pronounce. I'll get used to it eventually. But James Willows has finished his pit stop and he rejoins in 13th in front of his teammate. So he's managed to undercut his teammate Kellen Bryce as Yuri Marta, one of the championship contenders, pits. This is interesting. He pits from second. Is he able to get the undercut on Josie Willows? Let's see. Marta now then, how long is this pit stop going to be? It's a 9.8 second stop, so a reasonably okay stop from the McLaren mechanics. And it should be interesting to see where he comes out. The two, well, Roke and Boyman get past him. Boyman in the Williams at the moment. Boyman seems to be on a longer strategy on there than Williams. Speaking of which, he comes into the pits now, a lap later. So where's Boyman going to rejoin? So far he's having a good race at the moment. Sam Thompson coming down the pit straight as Marta goes up to third, but still Josie Willows is still yet to stop at the moment. So we can confirm that both Marta and Willows will be staying at McLaren next season. Mackenzie's crashed it at the exact same corner as well now. So Mackenzie is out of the race. So could we see a recurring thing down at turn 2? What is going on with that corner? Has somebody dumped some oil there from support races or whatever? I don't know, but clearly something's happening down at turn 2. Meanwhile, teammate George Roke pits from second place. Where's he he's going to hand second to Yuri Marta, but where is Roke going to rejoin? Let's see. Is he going to rejoin on the podium at the moment? I think that would be the bare minimum for George Roke at the moment. Meanwhile, a lap later, Josie Willows pits, but as he left it a little bit too late, as Yuri's near the pit straight, who is going to end up in the lead? Marta's down the pit straight. Has Marta done enough to leapfrog Josie Willows into turn 1? There's Sontag, and he has. Marta takes the lead from Willows, so Yuri Marta leads the Brazilian Grand Prix from Joseph Willows. Joseph Willows' strategy has not paid off, but still it won't matter for Willows because it will still be enough for Willows to win the championship if he stays in second place. But it's clear in Joseph's mind that he wants to win, so he's going to have to overtake Yuri on the track. Meanwhile, Byrne battling with a spiker. I don't know if he's actually battling with that spiker for position, but he's side by side with it nonetheless. And Byrne, is it going to be 12th position? Yes, it is. He moves up to 12th, and he was battling with that spiker. It was actually Sin Cara who was battling with for 12th position. Meanwhile, we look at Marta. What's the gap between him and Willows? Let's say the gap is 3.2 seconds, and Joseph is closing. Joseph is clearly the faster car between Yuri and Joseph. So this is going to get interesting throughout the race. And if it stays like this, as you can see, Marta will move up to second in the championship. But still, it will not be enough because Joseph will become a two-time world champion if it stays like this, as Marta is about to put a lap on Sontag again. So the two McLarens coming up to the Ferrari once again. Marta able to lap Sontag fantastically this time, no problems whatsoever. Now is he going to be the same with Joseph Willows? Let's see. Willows is close to Yuri Marta, and this is for the battle for the lead, not the championship of course. I wish it was, of course. If it was, you know, 1 point between them, this would have been the battle for the championship, and that would have been an interesting championship fight at the end, but clearly not, as Willows now then, sometimes making it hard for him to lap him, but surely Willows is going to lap him anyway down the straight, and rightly so. Joseph losing a little bit of time, but not too much time. Meanwhile, Daniel, we'll look at a replay of him, looks like he's understeered at the exact same corner. Ooh, so close to making contact with one of the spikers. I believe that would have been Sin Cara. And no, in fact it was Delazia. No, in fact I think it was Sin Cara actually. Speaking of which, Delazia goes down inside of Mazira and takes 15th. Meanwhile, we look at George Roke. What's happened to him? He's understeered off, so clearly George Roke pushing a little bit too hard on that in that BMW Sauber. So a lot of people understeering through that corner. Meanwhile, we look at the replay of Joseph Willows and what's happening here. So we can see Mazira's coming into the pits, and it slowed down Joseph. So, I don't know why Joseph didn't bother to go around there, but clearly it's cost him time, and that's why Yuri has found some breathing space between himself and Joseph Willows at the moment. As Page Knight down the inside of Evan Byrne, and he moves up into 10th position. That will be for the top 10, but still not enough for points at this rate. And, wow. 2 more positions for that. In fact, Byrne wants to get back inside of Page Knight. Down the inside goes Byrne. Can Byrne take it? Ooh, so close. And Byrne has overcooked himself. He tried to slot back into behind Page Knight, and it clearly hasn't worked. Overstepped the marker, and he spun out, and it's dropped him down to 14th. That is so costly error there for Evan Byrne. Meanwhile, look at this. Marta's being held up by 2 cars at the moment. Gal and and Wolf, I think it is. I believe it's Wolf. And as a result, it's brought the two McLarens into play, and now it's brought Willows even closer to Yumi Mata. These two are fighting for the victory here. And, well, it's clear that Joseph, even though he's in a comfortable and prime position to win the Drivers' Championship, he clearly wants to win as James Willows goes down the inside of his next season's teammate Sam Thompson. This is James Willows' last race for Renault. He will be moving to Red Bull next season with Sam Thompson. And meanwhile, Joseph Willows all over the back of Yumi Mata. Can Willows get the lead off his teammate, the defending champion, looking good at the moment to win his second title today as he's tucked up behind Mata. Can he get the flying fin into turn number 4? Mata defends, and rightfully so. Mata keeping the lead for the moment, but Willows will be back for more, and it is clear. And they are both clear at the moment from George Roque, who is in 3rd position. He is the first of the non-McLaren drivers who is leading at the moment. He is in 3rd position. Meanwhile, Willows now then down the pit straight, skipping a little bit on that lap. And is he going to take the lead of Yumi Mata down the inside? Is Willows going to lead the race down the inside? And he's done it. Joseph Willows takes the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Mata having a little bit of luck. Ooh, so lucky. But luckily gathered it back up, and now that's lost him a gaggle amount of time. He nearly put it in the wall himself, but luckily he managed to hold it on. And here's a replay of it. So let's see what happens. So Mata locked up into turn number 2, and he was so lucky that he didn't go onto the wall. He was lucky he was using all the curb there. Meanwhile, James Willows had a little bit of oversteer through that corner and goes for a little bit of a 180, but luckily he doesn't lose a position, I don't think. Well, Thompson's now all over him, but it looks like James is going to defend it either way, and it's brought Kellen Bryce into the fight as well. Bryce and Willows are fighting for 7th place in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. So far, Willows will be taking 7th place away from Kellen Bryce. So once again, Kellen will be beaten by his teammate for the 2nd season in a row. Not the way he wants to end his last race in the GP4 Offline Championship. As Bryce down the inside of Thompson, and he takes 6th place off the Red Bull. As now Southgate getting a little bit of a lock-up, defending from Page Knight at the moment as George Roque pits from 3rd position, and it looks like he's going to still rejoin in 3rd position, so no problems there then for George Roque. As now we look at Daniel, who's got a problem. Daniel's got a problem, and he's pulled off the side of the track, and he is out of the race. Disappointing, and he crashed it in the wall in disgust. And well, that's not the way he wanted to end this season. That pretty much sums up, well, Super Aguri's season really. Well, they've had an okay season. I think it's pretty much Toro Rosso who wants to forget this season. The only team not to score a point this season. But it all could change as Mata is now pit from 2nd place. And Joseph has inherited the lead. I believe he might have pitted earlier on. But look at this. But Roque has now got into the fight for 2nd place. So Roque has had some good outlaps. And it means that he's now behind one of the McLarens. We've got a crash. And it's Byrne. Byrne has crashed it. Round that left-hander, and it's actually a transmission problem, so he's obviously binned it in disgust. Pretty much shows Honda's season this season. It's worse than last season. As we look at Joseph Willows, who's now approaching turn number 1. And he's looking good for the championship at the moment, as long as he has no mistakes. In fact, he's making a mistake. I've got commentator's curse. Joseph Willows has crashed it. Joseph Willows has crashed it, and Marta's lost his front wing. Oh, this is going to get interesting. Has Joseph Willows just binned an opportunity to become a double world champion? Joseph Willows has crashed out of the final race of the season, and that could bin his world championship hopes. As George Roque inherits the lead from the 2 McLarens. Here's a replay, same mistake as William Nella, so clearly there must be some sort of oil down there or whatever, and as a result Mata collected the tyre and he's lost his front wing. Mata's going to have to do a full lap without a front wing. Has this cost Mata the championship as well? We need to see where he's going to end up rejoining, because that might have still saved Joseph Willows' bacon, because Joseph needs to make sure that Mata finishes 3rd or lower to become a double world champion. If Mata finishes 2nd or higher, Mata will become the world champion. And at this rate, let's see where he's going to rejoin. Bryce is in 2nd, Willows 3rd, Boyer 4th. Mata rejoins in 5th position, but the question is, has everybody else pitted? From what I've heard, the 2 Renaults are still yet to pit, but Boyman is already pitted, and he's going to be staying out for the rest of the race. So Mata will not win the championship at this rate. He needs to pass Boyman on track to guarantee that, because the 2 Renaults are still yet to pit. And Boyman doesn't need to make another pit stop, so Marta has to clear Boyman in order to be in prime position to win the Drivers' Championship. In fact, skipping a lap, Marta all over the back of Boyman. Is Marta able, as Willows pits from third position? So Marta moves up to fourth, but can it be third? He's looking to the inside of Boyman. Can he get third position? After Williams, down the inside. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Marta moves up to third position, and by the time that Bryce pits, which I think is further down the line because he's still got a little bit of fuel to burn in his tank. By the time, in fact, Marta's, as we skipped a couple of laps, he's all over the back of him, but Bryce is still at to pit. At this rate, Marta is in good position, and if it stays like this, when Bryce pits, when he goes up into second, as it would stand, Marta will win the Drivers' Championship as Sontag locking up heavenly. He's not had a good since he lost his front wing, clearly having handling problems. He will want to forget this season, as he's just had a rotten look this season. He'll be hoping that 2008 will be a better year for him. Ferrari obviously working hard on next season's car as well, they'll obviously be moving on to that, as now they cannot win the Drivers' Championship. Joseph is just praying, but now Bryce is in the pit. Marta moves up to second, so it means at this rate, if it stays as it is, Jiri Marta will win the Drivers' Championship. The underdog going into this will end up winning the championship if it stays like this. There he is, Marta, prime position to win the Drivers' Championship. He needs that second place, but anything can happen. Marta could end up with a failure or a crash. We do not know, and that would definitely make Joseph Willows a two-time world champion. So it's not all over yet. They've still got 12 laps to complete. Meanwhile, Willows all over the back of his championship contender for 7th, Callum Bryce. He wants that 5th position off him. Meanwhile, Sontag all over the back of Mazia, trying to take 14th off the Toro Rosso, and Marta feeling the need. Sorry, not Marta. Mazia feeling the need to defend, and he looks like he's got handling problems. Mazia has got handling problems. This is a similar issue to that happened in my former league, the GP3 Championship, where Joshua Anderson also had handling issues, which made him controversially weave in front of James Willows a couple of times. And Sontag, can he take 14th off Mazia? Mazia has got bad handling problems indeed. Mazia could be a threat to the other drivers. Could he be a deciding factor in the Drivers' Championship? I'm not saying that he's going to be a danger to anyone indeed, but he could be due to his handling problems. That handling problem could veer into somebody, especially Jiri Marta, if he's not careful. And that, well, would give Joseph Willows the World Championship right there. Where is Marta? Marta's a long way off Mazia, yeah, as we've got 5 laps to go of the 2007 championship left, and it looks like Marta is going to become the 2007 champion. McLaren will defend the championship, but with a different driver. And it's clearly not what Joseph Willows wanted indeed. He wanted to come into this race and defend the World Championship, and unfortunately it just hasn't gone his way. 3 laps to go then for race leader George Rowe. And let's see the gap. He's increasing the gap between himself and Marta. I don't know if Marta's caught up in a little bit of traffic at the moment. But Boyman at the moment in the Williams looking good for a podium here. So it's looking good for Boyman. And meanwhile Marta, yes, he is stuck in some traffic at the moment, but he's looking good at the moment for that second place. So he's going to lap Gal, that is not Mazia. Mazia is a little bit of a worry. He could be a factor in the outcome of the championship if his handling problems get worse and he may swerve into somebody. We hope it's not Marta. But anyway, look at this. Here's Mazia right now. He's holding up a gaggle of cars as a result of his handling problems. Nothing that he could do. He's clearly got some crabbing going on into his car, which is clearly holding up everybody. None of his fault. He clearly still wants to push because he knows that Wolf is there. That's why he's not letting anyone through, because Wolf is in this gaggle at the moment. Mazia doesn't want to drop backwards to the Super Aguri of Adam Wolf. Where is... In fact, at this rate, Toro Rosso are not going to get any points whatsoever. So it'll be a disappointing year for Toro Rosso. It'll be one that they'll want to forget. And they'll hope that 2008 is a better year for them. And still, Mazia resilient to let these guys lap them. In fact, George Rote, the race leader, is actually coming up to these gaggle of cars. So the question is Marta going to end up in this gaggle of cars if he's not careful? So is the two Red Bulls. They're also in a little bit of a fight in the moment, as Wolf has moved up to 15th. He's past Mazia, so he's able to slip through, as another one has lapped Mazia, and now George Roque all over the back of this gaggle of cars. Roque, in fact, will be starting the final lap of the Brazilian Grand Prix, the final lap of the 2007 season. Everybody seems to have lapped Mazia. Now is Roque able to lap Mazia? That is the question. Roque down the inside, and he's able to get him easily. Roque starts the final lap here in Brazil. And what an improvement Roque has had this season. After a disappointing 2006, he came to BMW Sauber, and what a ride he's had, and he's going to clinch his first ever victory here in Brazil, his first ever victory in this whole league. It's been a roller coaster for George Roque, and he's finally going to get the break that he so desperately needed. Marta's starting his final lap, as Thompson is holding off his teammate Strachan for that final point at the moment. Can Thompson hold on to Strachan for 8th position at the moment? In fact, I think they've got Southgate in that fight as well. So Thompson's going to have to worry not only of Strachan, but also Alex Southgate as well, who's also in this fight as well. Meanwhile, George Roque, as you can see, behind this group who are fighting for 8th position, is nearly home. He's just coming around the second to last corner now. There he is. Boyman looks of course for that 3rd position. Meanwhile, we look at George Roque, comes around the second to last corner, and he's going to take his first ever win in the series. In the final race of the championship, George Roque wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. A fantastic race for him. A little bit of luck indeed, but still you have to have a little bit of luck in this. And here is the new world champion. Jiri Mata is the 2007 GP4 offline champion. Congratulations to him. Joseph Willows will be bitterly disappointed, but happy for his teammate nonetheless. Jiri Mata, after being the underdog coming into this race, is the 2007 GP4 offline champion. Congratulations to him indeed. Callum Bryce is going to cross the line in 4th position, but I believe James will do enough to keep 7th in the Drivers' Championship. I think James Willows, here he is, his final race for Renault, going to cross the line in 5th position. A great result for him indeed. Clearly not a great season for him indeed after picking up a win last season, but he'll hope that if Red Bull bring along a good package next season, he'll be hoping he can challenge for a victory next season. As Roque pulls off the side of the track, seemingly he had a problem towards the end, so luckily he did finish and win the race before that happened. But here is the 2007 champion, Jiri Mata. Congratulations to him indeed. I'm so happy for him indeed. So, after all of that controversy, here it is. Roque won the race with Marta 2nd, Boyman 3rd, Bryce in 4th with James Willows 5th, Page Knight in 6th. Sam Thompson actually moved up to 7th, and I believe it was Strachan in 8th. As Moyton apparently did not cross the line, so he did not get 10th position indeed. So Strachan finished in 8th, Alex Southgate finished 9th, Mochen in 10th, so he clearly did drop back, so he did keep 10th, sorry. Gal 11th, Cara 12th, Dialazia 13th, Sontag 14th, Wolf 15th, Mazia 16th, and the retirements were Joseph Willows, Evan Bourne, Daniel McKenzie, Nella, and Waze Cuba. So, after all of that, that has been it from the Brazilian Grand Prix. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. It was definitely worth a watch indeed. A fantastic championship nonetheless. Will Nella set the fastest lap at the end of it. So that wouldn't really mean much anyway because Nella lost the championship. So there it is. Jiri Mata is the 2010 champion with Joseph Willows 2nd. Will Nella in 3rd position. A little bit of a flag glitch there. I do apologise. It will get sorted for the video indeed. McLaren won the Constructors' Championship in China with Ferrari 2nd and BMW Sauber in 3rd position. BMW doing a great job indeed. Toro Rosso the only team to not score points. Disappointing for them. They'll hope to bounce back better in 2008. So that has been it then from the 2007 championship. I hope you enjoyed not just this race but the whole season. Thanks to everyone who watched. And before I go, I just want to say a personal message to say thank you to Az for all that he has done and good luck to the future for him. As you may or may not know, he'll be handing his hosting duties off to someone else as he has got very important exams, so he will not be hosting the 2008 championship. He might come back in the future, but who knows. But I want to say thank you to Az for putting on this championship, and I really hope that the new host, Yuri Marta, will do a good job in 2008. For those of you who haven't subbed to him yet, I suggest you go and subscribe to him to watch all the races live still. I will leave a link, I think Az will leave a link in the description so you can go subscribe to him if you haven't already. But that has been it then from the 2008 championship. I'm going to leave, I'm sure Az won't mind doing this, but I'm going to leave a little hashtag at the end saying hashtag thank you Az. If you can put that down in the comment section, I think Az would really appreciate it. Just good luck to Yuri for next season as well. And because it's a change for hosting, I'm going to say for starters as well, that the commentary is going, the way the commentary is going to be run for the series is also going to change in 2008. I'm not going to say how it's going to change or what it's going to change to, but trust me, you will be excited for it. It's going to be something completely different for this league, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. I think you'll find that out at the Australian Grand Prix next season. But until then, I've been JWF1. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll leave you with the credits for the 2007 season. Until then, I've been JWF1, and we will see you for 2008. Until then, take care.